Greetings, fellow Wastelanders, and welcome to my settlement tour of Kingsport Lighthouse. If you follow my builds, you may have expected this video to be a look at my Nuka World Red Rocket settlement. That settlement is mostly built, but I hit a bit of builder's block with it, so I decided to build somewhere else for a bit, using my usual scrappy style. If you want a preview of my Nuka World Red Rocket, check out the House of Horror build linked below. I chose Kingsport Lighthouse because I've not built here since my earliest days playing this game, and I wanted to take a shot at it using my current building skills. This build was done on a PlayStation 5 using the Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition, which includes DLCs such as Nuka World and Far Harbor. I do not use any building mods such as Place Anywhere or Scrap Everything. However, I do have Creation Club creations installed, so you will see some CC skins in my builds such as clothing, power armor, and weapons. In addition, I have the May 2024 update from Bethesda installed. This update integrated the Halloween Workshop, Enclave Remnants, and Makeshift weapons pack into the main game, so you will see some objects from that update in this build. To the surprise of no one who has seen my previous builds, I have taxed the building limits in this settlement. This build represents 3.5 size bars worth of building, so please forgive any frame rate drops you may see. Also, the game crashed twice as I was recording this video, so I had to splice 3 different recordings into this one video. If you have any questions about how something is done in this video without mods, please feel free to ask in the comments below and indicate a timestamp. In general, I do not create walled-off settlements, mostly because I prefer to use up my build limits with structures inside the settlement. However, for this particular settlement, something just felt right about walling it off. Outside this wall is a spawn point for this settlement where enemies will occasionally appear and attack. To ward them off, I have lined this wall with guard stations and turrets. Let's take a look at one of the security towers from the inside. The Deathclaw trophy hanging off the side is partly a decoration, but is also a bit of a warning to any would-be attackers that the settlers here are no slouches and will put up a fight if attacked. On the lower level, we have a power armor station and some space for storage and weaponry. Upstairs, we have the guard post and a cooking area. The guards basically never sleep and patrol endlessly, so in my headcanon, I like to think that they take rests now and then to eat and sleep. That's why I include items like cooking stations and a table for the guard to take a break.
Ain't looking for trouble, I hope.
This security tower has additional guard posts as well as a weapons workbench. In my story, I imagine all the weapons on the wall provide settlers and guards alike with an assortment of weaponry to grab when defending the settlement. As its name suggests, one of the primary features of this settlement is the lighthouse. This is a permanent structure and cannot be scrapped without mods, so I wanted to work around it somehow. Then I saw Vault Dweller's absolutely stunning Kingsport Lighthouse build, and I took some inspiration from it, creating walkways and structures right up against the lighthouse itself. I've linked to Vault Dweller's video below. You should absolutely check it out. Our first structure is a fairly tight living quarters for settlers. It's mainly meant for them to sleep at night. Exit and you'll see we are right up against the lighthouse. From here, we can take a path that involved a lot of campfire glitching. This leads us to more living quarters for settlers. Not only can settlers feel a bit more safe by being elevated, but on their way up, they can enjoy some fantastic views. Unlike the more cramped living quarters below, this one is a bit more open, with enough room for 3 different settlers. Yes, there are only 2 beds, but I also have a sleeping bag glitched into the couch so a settler can sleep there.
It's the best. Have you tried this? Oh man. Woo. Gotta get more of this. Colors.
Ale and Hearty is a play on a now defunct chain of soup shops once known as Hale and Hearty. This small bar/eatery is mostly intended for the visitors who come to Kingsport. I added the slot machines for variety and, of course, happiness, but they sometimes pull settlers away from their duties, which seems to have this odd effect of causing them to come to the bar and just stand around doing nothing.
Got a dangerous look about you. Hope you ain't here for me.
To the side of Ale and Hardy is another path leading us around the lighthouse. This path winds up on the second floor of the settlement's clinic. On this floor of the clinic, we have a nice little balcony for fresh air, beds for patients, desks for the doctors, and a surgery chair. The surgery chair does not actually add happiness to the settlement, but it is a unique model, and it gives a job to a settler, so I like including them in my clinics if possible. Downstairs, we have a chemistry station, the main clinic, and a photographer. Here and there, you'll see specimen jars, which come from the aforementioned Halloween pack included in the May 2024 Bethesda update to the game. There is also a small table for doctors to have a snack or a meal. Patients have a waiting area with a table full of snacks that they can enjoy while waiting. The interior of the lighthouse is largely kept plain because, well, frankly, by the time I got to this, I was already pushing 3.5 size bars, and the settlement was already experiencing some occasional glitches. So I decided to add some decorations, some beds, and a desk at the top level for the sole survivor, and leave it at that. Next to the clinic are a couple bathrooms. I try to include some of these in my settlements because I like to think of Fallout settlements as baby steps back towards civilization. Having a place to go to the bathroom properly is perhaps a small but important step towards restoring some level of civility to the lives of the settlers. Usually, I like to give my shops silly names or names that pay homage to stores that I like. FW Woolworths falls into the latter category. For those not in the know, F.W. Woolworths was a chain of department stores in the United States opened in 1879, but they went out of business in 1997. It was one of my favorite places to shop when I was younger, so I wanted to name the general store after it. The shopkeeper has enough stock that some of it is outside while the rest is inside. You'll notice a tricycle among the items in the shop. This was found nearby when I unlocked the settlement, and I kept it to use as decoration.
My back hurts, my feet hurt, everything hurts.
Behind the shop is the shopkeeper's home. I don't use the boxcars as much as I would like in my settlements, so I made it a point to include them in this one. And right here is where my game froze as I was recording, so I'll restart and pick up from here. Be right back.
You hear about that farm run by ghouls? Isn't that something?
Welcome back! Next up is the clothing shop. It's a simple shop, and in retrospect, I think I should have built a dressing room in a corner or something to make the interior look a little more interesting. Oh well, next time.
Hope you ain't one of them synths, here to spy on me.
Have you tried this? Oh, man. Gotta get more of this.
Upstairs is a snack stand that serves food and drink. This also gives settlers and visitors a nice view to check out as they enjoy their food.
You know what I call a good day? One that ends without an empty stomach.
I could drink this forever and ever and then stop.
Across from the snack stand is the living quarters for the clothing shop owner.
Drinking sunshine. This soda is like drinking sunshine. Rainbows.
Aside from the lighthouse, the other permanent structure at Kingsport is a house across from the lighthouse. This structure also cannot be scrapped without mods, but to me, that's always a fun challenge. To make the structure more interesting, I decided to use it as a core building with structures barnacled against it. Okay, let's head inside. This desk, the terminal on it, and the table lamp were all here when you take over the settlement. The terminal actually works, so I did not want to scrap it. Instead, I added a safe under the desk for settlers to store their valuables to give it a little more of a lived-in look.
Have you tried this? Oh, man.
On the other side, I glitched a TV into a dresser to create a unique piece of furniture. For those curious, this wall safe and painting leaning against the wall are here when you arrive at the settlement. You can scrap the
Sounds not
painting,
much,
but I love the way it
it's
looks,
something.
so I left it alone. In the kitchen, I glitched a soda station into the counter to bring some life into the house. Not only does the soda machine have someone working on it, but settlers float in and out of the house to grab a drink as well. You'll notice this blood stain on the ground. The texture for this is permanently stuck in the kitchen floor, and no matter what you put on top of it, it will appear. I've tried mats, I've even tried pieces of wood flooring, and it always appears. So let's pretend it's spilled potato juice or something and move on. Originally, I had a lot more decoration on this table and the shelf in the kitchen, but settlers kept ramming into it or appearing in the middle of the table, knocking everything down. So ultimately, I just took all that stuff away. Like so many houses in the Commonwealth, the roof is blown out when you find it. To fix this, I adapted a method posted by Draco Invictus. The biggest challenge you will face with this roof is the pre-existing ceiling fan that cannot be scrapped. However, Draco manages to work around it. I linked to his very helpful roof repair video below. Definitely check it out.
Have you tried this? Oh man. Woo!
In addition to fixing the roof, I also restored the wall to the restroom towards the front. The mirror you'll see on the wall is a Nuka Galaxy poster reversed, something I learned from the schooled zone. I also rug glitched the cabinet up against the sink to make it look like one cohesive unit. Check out Paul's video linked below where he demonstrates all of this.
I gotta get more of this. Whoa, colors.
This wall has a large open gap when you first arrive, so I glitched in a doorway piece from the barn menu to make it a functional doorway. The doorway leads outside to a cooking area with a little garden in the background. I glitched a metal roof piece over this area to provide cover for settlers from rain as they cook and enjoy their food. To the left of the cooking area is a small bedroom and kitchen for a settler to live in. Outside are stairs that would take us right back down to the ground level of the settlement. On the other side of the cooking area is another living space. Under here is where the settlement's Brahmin hangs out. The back of the house has even more attached to the main structure. To the side, we have an armor dealer. I pillar glitched a wood prefab against the wall of the house and then glitched the shop inside.
Yes? Out here, you gotta take things one day at a time.
Moving on, we have a storage area in front of the reactor room. This is a small little workshop where the settlers work together to keep the generator going. There is also a restroom inside for workers to use. You'll notice decoration is sparse in here. By the time I was getting to this room, the game was already crashing on me pretty regularly, so I decided to leave it alone. Outside the reactor room is a scavenger station. Up above is a roof piece I glitched into the side of the structure to provide the scavenger with protection from the elements. Okay, that covers this level of the settlement, but one of the cool things about Kingsport Lighthouse is that there is a whole other level to it. Head on down, and there are 2 levels of docks with more pre-existing structures that you can build on and around. To the right, I added a new dock area for a weapons shop. I typically put food vendors on docks, but since there were 2 other bars in the settlement already, I wanted to put something different here. The dock leads to the water purifier area. These walkways allow settlers to perform maintenance on the water purifiers. The path through the water purifiers leads to this boat. This is one way to get to it, but let's go the way the settlement layout originally intended. This boat comes with a settlement, and like the lighthouse, it cannot be scrapped without mods. I decided to turn it into a home for one of the settlers. I glitched in a wood prefab piece as the living room. The former bridge of the ship acts as the settler's bedroom. You'll notice inside the bedroom there's a safe. That actually came with the ship. You can scrap it, but I decided to keep it as a decoration piece. If we go around to the back of the boat, we have a small fishing area, and you can see the staircase leading up to the pathway to the water purifiers. I also wanted to use the top of the ship, so I glitched in this ramp to get up to the top of the boat. Up here, we have an area to barbecue, and then a place to eat with a view. I mentioned earlier that I see settlements as a step towards civilization. One of the features I like to have in my settlements is a place for settlers to bathe. Here at Kingsport, settlers have the Bath and Body Works. Here we have a restroom and 2 baths for settlers to use. This settlement has 21 settlers, but I figure they're not all bathing daily, so this is enough for them to all maybe get a bath in about once a week. There is also a bathtub in the main house as well. This small structure up here was set up over the dock with a couple beds for settlers to nap if needed. I figure if the sun is particularly harsh that day, they can go into shade, or if it's raining really hard, they can use this for cover. Okay, right about here is where the game crashed again, so let's do the fade out and fade in thing one more time. On the lower docks, there is a structure that was likely a boathouse. This cannot be scrapped without mods, but I wouldn't want to. It was the perfect shape and size to be a dockside bar and eatery, plus it featured some unique textures. Brood Awakening is named after a cafe I went to once. The name stuck with me, so I decided to use it here. When you first come upon this back area, the docks have partially collapsed. I decided to glitch in floor pieces to restore the dock as best I could, making it into an outdoor dining area. The restoration isn't perfect, of course. You'll notice the structure to the left is tilted back a bit. I figured it was high enough that it may look a bit funny, but it still works as a covered structure for the picnic table under it. For those curious about these birds, if you try to get rid of them, they will respawn. And that is the tour of my Kingsport Lighthouse settlement build. If you enjoyed this tour, go ahead and hit that like button. Kind comments are always appreciated. If you have any questions about something you have seen in this video, leave a question or comment below and I'll do my best to answer them in a timely manner. Special thanks to my patrons on Patreon who support my activities on Ben's World of Transformers and allow me to create these videos. Until next time, stay safe in the wasteland.